What if I told you that the greatest secret in history was hidden in the desert, and it wasn't buried by time, but by those who feared its power? The Dead Sea Scrolls. Over 800 manuscripts, locked away in ancient clay jars, were left untouched for over 2,000 years. Why? Why did the men who wrote them choose to hide these revelations in caves rather than share them with the world? Could it be that they knew what was coming? That the truth they held had the power to change everything? For centuries, the institutions that claimed to hold the keys to salvation kept a deadly secret. These scrolls were not written by priests or kings, but by mystics, rebels, the Essenes, a group of spiritual warriors who sought truth not in the altars, but in the silence of the desert. Their teachings were not meant to be worshipped, but mirrored in the hearts of those willing to awaken to their true selves. But here lies the question. What if everything you've been told about salvation, about divinity, is wrong? What if the divine isn't something you look up to, but something that already exists within you? In this video, we will uncover the lost truths hidden in these ancient scrolls, the secrets they contain that the world was never meant to see. You will discover why the church and religious institutions fought so hard to suppress these teachings, why they couldn't let the world know that the kingdom of heaven isn't somewhere you go when you die, but a divine realm waiting to be unlocked within your very soul. You'll understand how this knowledge was hidden from the masses, and why it could shatter everything you thought you knew about faith and spirituality. Are you ready to remember who you truly are? To break free from the chains of the past and awaken the divine fire within? Because once you see the truth, nothing will ever be the same again. Hit that like button, subscribe, and let's embark on this journey together. Comment below and share your thoughts. Do you believe the truth was kept from us, or is it time to reclaim it? The time for remembering has come. Let the awakening begin. The Essenes, the spiritual rebels who changed everything. In the silence of the desert, the Essenes, a group of mystics, left behind their sacred teachings, hidden in the folds of time. These were not men who sought power through temples or kingships. They sought only the truth, the divine truth that beats in the heart of every soul. They were the rebels, the outcasts, the ones who rejected the system of control set by the world's most powerful religious institutions. But why? Why would they choose to walk away from the very structures that most people sought their salvation in? The answer is profound. They understood that true spirituality does not lie in rituals or hierarchy. It lies within. The Essenes sought a connection with the divine that was intimate, personal, and direct. They lived in the wilderness, not to escape God, but to seek Him in the most pure and untainted form. In the vast emptiness of the desert, they found God in the wind, in the silence, and in their own hearts. These men were not trying to build a new religion or a new kingdom. They were not interested in raising altars or creating dogma. They were waiting for a teacher who would awaken the divine spark in each of them. This teacher, they believed, would not come to save them from their sins. He would come to show them that they had never fallen. They had merely forgotten who they truly were. Imagine the audacity of their belief, that every single person could experience the divine within themselves, without needing any mediator, without needing a priest, a pope, or a church to tell them what was holy. This was the core of their message. The kingdom of heaven is not something that exists somewhere else, far away. It exists within you, right here, right now. The Essenes believed that to truly understand the divine, we must awaken to it within our own being. They were not simply mystics. They were the keepers of a secret, one that could transform the world as we know it. They wrote it down in scrolls, ancient scrolls, hidden for centuries. These scrolls were not just religious texts, they were keys to the soul's awakening. And as the scrolls remained sealed, hidden in the caves of the Dead Sea, they remained a secret, one that would eventually be revealed to only a select few, the teacher of righteousness, the one who was to awaken us. The scrolls speak of a teacher, a figure cloaked in light, whose teachings would not build a new system of worship, but instead would awaken what was already within each of us. This teacher was not a divine figure sent from above to carry our sins, but a mirror to our souls. His role was not to be worshipped, but to show us that we are the embodiment of divinity, that the kingdom of heaven lies dormant within our hearts, waiting to be awakened. This teacher was a rebel in his own right. Just as the Essenes rejected the religious norms of their time, so too did this teacher challenge the accepted beliefs. He came not to teach obedience, but to teach remembrance. The divine is not something to be sought outside of ourselves. It is already within. It is not something to be worshipped in a distant temple, but something to be realized and activated within every human being. This teaching was so dangerous to the religious institutions of the time, who relied on the control of the masses, that they did everything in their power to suppress it. They hijacked the message of the teacher, twisting it to serve their own ends. Instead of teaching the awakening of the soul, they turned the message of the teacher into one of external worship. They raised him up as a god to be worshipped, rather than a man whose purpose was to awaken others to their own divine nature. The scrolls reveal the profound truth that has been hidden for centuries. The true purpose of the teacher was not to be placed on a pedestal, but to be seen in each one of us. The teacher came to show us the way back to ourselves, to remind us that we are not lost, but simply forgotten. As the institutions of religion grew in power, the message of the teacher became distorted, manipulated, and ultimately erased. The truth that he brought was too powerful, too dangerous for those who sought to maintain control. And so they took the mirror that he held up to humanity and shattered it, replacing it with a throne, a symbol of power that could be worshipped from afar. But the scrolls, hidden for centuries, carry with them the original teachings that reveal the truth about who we are. They hold the keys to unlocking the divine power that lies within each of us. These teachings are not about worshipping a distant deity. They are about remembering our own divine nature. The teacher's message is not that we should pray to him, but that we should recognize the divine in ourselves and awaken to it. The scrolls speak of a time when the teachings would be uncovered, a time when people would remember the truth that had been hidden for so long. That time is now. The question is not whether the truth is within us, but whether we are ready to awaken to it. Are we ready to remember who we truly are? Are we ready to stop looking for the divine outside of ourselves and start looking within? Because when we do, we will see that the kingdom of heaven was never far away. It was always within us, waiting to be awakened. This is the secret that the Essenes left behind. It is the truth that the teacher came to show us, and it is the truth that we are now ready to embrace. As you watch this video, let the truth of the scrolls sink deep into your soul. Know that you are not separate from the divine. You are not lost. You are simply remembering. And as you remember, you will awaken to the divine light that has always been within you. Now, as we move forward, let us delve deeper into the message of the scrolls and explore the profound wisdom they hold. For this is just the beginning of the journey back to yourself. The deception of religious institutions, how power silenced the truth. The journey of truth is often met with resistance, not from the unwillingness of the seeker, but from the institutions built to control what is revealed. The Essenes, who once lived in the desert seeking a connection with the divine in its purest form, left behind a treasure of sacred knowledge. This knowledge, however, was not meant to remain hidden forever. It was a gift meant to awaken those who were ready. But when the world's most powerful religious institutions came to know the scrolls existed, they were met with fear. Not because of the teachings within them, but because of the danger they posed to a system built on authority and control. You see, these ancient scrolls did not speak of a distant god who needed to be worshipped through elaborate rituals or temple sacrifices. Instead, they revealed the simple yet profound truth that divinity is not something separate from us. It is within us. The scrolls held the key to spiritual freedom, the key to recognizing that we are all temples of the divine, that our breath is prayer and our heart is the altar. But this was a truth too powerful for those who had built empires upon obedience and fear. It threatened to dismantle the very foundations upon which religious hierarchies stood. So the scrolls were hidden. They were bought, locked away, and silenced by those who feared their power. For centuries they remained out of sight, concealed in the caves, their message buried under layers of fear, control, and manipulation. Why would the truth be hidden? Because when people realize that the divine is not something to be sought in distant heavens, but something that resides within their own hearts, they cannot be controlled. And so the religious authorities twisted the teachings of the teacher of righteousness. They took the message of awakening, of inner divinity, and turned it into one of worship, not of the truth itself, but of a figure placed on a pedestal, separated from the people. This is the great deception. The teacher of righteousness was never meant to be worshipped. He came to show us that we are all capable of divine connection, not through rituals and sacrifices, but through direct communion with the divine essence within. But when empires rise, they do so on the backs of those who are kept in ignorance. The truth, when hidden, is a dangerous weapon. And so the truth was twisted, manipulated, and rewritten to serve the needs of those in power. It was the greatest betrayal in history, for it stole from humanity the knowledge of their own power. And this is why the scrolls were hidden. This is why they were locked away for so long. Because the divine light that was meant to awaken humanity was too bright. It threatened the very foundations of the power structures that had ruled for centuries. And so, the message of the Essenes, the truth of the teacher of righteousness, was buried under the weight of control, fear, and manipulation. But here we are today, on the cusp of rediscovering this lost truth. The scrolls, once sealed in darkness, have now come into the light. Their message is no longer hidden. The question is not whether the truth is there, but whether we are ready to hear it. Are we ready to remember that we are not fallen, that we are not lost, that the divine light is within us all? It's time to reclaim what was taken from us. It's time to remember the divine power within our own hearts. The kingdoms built on fear and control may fall, but the truth, once remembered, can never be taken away. The awakening within, rediscovering our divine nature. As the scrolls were hidden for centuries, so too has humanity's true nature been buried beneath layers of dogma and external authority. But within each of us there is a memory, a whisper in our hearts that tells us who we truly are. The divine has never been distant from us. It has always been here, within us, waiting for us to remember. The scrolls speak of a time when the divine would awaken within the hearts of individuals. They don't speak of a mass awakening that comes from the top down through temples or religious leaders. No. This awakening comes from within. It is a quiet revolution, a shift in consciousness that begins with the individual, not the institution. The teachings of the Essenes, as revealed in the scrolls, were never meant to create another religion. They were meant to dissolve the need for religion altogether. The teacher of righteousness did not come to offer salvation through ritual. He came to offer it through awakening. The divine is not a distant God to be worshipped, but a living presence within each of us. The kingdom of heaven is not a place we go when we die, but a realm we awaken to within ourselves. This is the truth that the scrolls reveal. This is the divine spark that has always been within us. And this is the truth that will change everything, not for the world, but for each individual who dares to look within. When we realize that we are not separate from the divine, we are freed from the chains of external control. We are no longer dependent on institutions, priests, or rituals to experience God. The divine is not something to be sought outside of us. It is something to be realized within. Just as the Essenes withdrew from the world to seek God in silence, we too must withdraw from the distractions and noise of modern life and look within. In the quiet of our own hearts we will find the divine. In the stillness we will hear the voice that tells us who we are. We are not fallen, we are not broken. We are divine, whole, and complete. The scrolls remind us that we are all the teacher of righteousness. We are all capable of awakening the divine within ourselves. And when we awaken the world. The kingdom of heaven is not something we enter after death. It is something we enter now, in this moment, through our own awakening. When we remember who we are, we remember the divine that lives within us all. The scrolls didn't just describe heaven, they described a state of being, a state of awakening. They didn't speak of a distant God, but of the inner spark that connects us all to the divine. This is the truth that has been hidden from us for so long. But now, as we rediscover the scrolls, we are also rediscovering ourselves. And as we do, we begin to awaken to the truth that has always been within us. So as you listen to this message, let it sink deep into your soul. Remember who you are. Remember the divine light that has always been with you. And when you do, you will no longer be a seeker of truth. You will be the truth, embodied and awakened. This is the divine revolution, and it begins with you. The path to awakening. Recognizing the divine within. When the scrolls were hidden, so too was humanity's true power. The recognition that the divine has always resided within us. It is not a far-off destination we need to seek, but a living presence waiting to be realized. The teachings of the Essenes, preserved in these sacred scrolls, did not seek to build a religion or elevate a single figure. They came to remind us that every human being carries within them the seed of the divine, a light that, when awakened, transforms the very fabric of reality itself. This message, which has been so carefully hidden, carries with it an invitation to awaken to who we truly are. The teacher of righteousness did not come to offer salvation through external rituals or acts. He came to awaken each individual to their own divine nature. He came to show us that the kingdom of heaven does not reside in some distant realm, but right here, in our hearts, waiting to be unlocked. And the key to unlocking it is awareness. Awareness of the divine spark within, the ability to look inward and recognize that the same light that created the universe resides in each of us. This is not a concept for philosophers alone. It is a truth that, once embraced, changes everything. When we look within and recognize the divine, we stop searching for it outside. We stop looking to others to give us what is already ours. We cease looking for salvation and begin to live it. Think of the moments in your life when you felt a deep sense of peace, when you felt connected to something greater than yourself. These moments are glimpses of the kingdom within. They are reminders that the divine has never left you. You've simply forgotten. And as the scrolls reveal, this is not a unique experience reserved for a select few. It is the birthright of every human being. The divine is within you, just as it was within the Essenes and the teacher of righteousness. But there's more. The scrolls speak not only of the divine spark within, but also of a path, a journey back to our true selves. The teacher came to remind us of this path, and the Essenes wrote down his message so that, in time, it would awaken others. We are not alone in this journey. Every person you meet, every soul you encounter, is walking the same path, searching for the same truth. This path to awakening does not require grand gestures or heroic deeds. It is found in the simple acts of life, in moments of stillness, in acts of kindness, in the quiet awareness of our breath. When we cultivate a deeper awareness of our inner world, we begin to see the divine in all things. This is the essence of the teachings hidden in the scrolls. The kingdom of heaven is not something to be achieved. It is something to be realized. And once we realize it, we can no longer view the world through the lens of separation. We are no longer separate from one another or from the divine. We are all connected, and in that connection, we find our true purpose. This is the awakening. This is the shift in consciousness that the scrolls point us toward, a return to the truth of who we are. The invitation to awaken is not something to be taken lightly. It is a call to step out of the illusions that bind us. It is a call to see ourselves as we truly are, divine, whole, and complete. And once we recognize this, we can never go back to our old ways of thinking. The awakening transforms everything. The way we see ourselves, the way we see others, and the way we see the world itself. In this awakening, there is no room for fear, no room for judgment, and no room for doubt. There is only love, connection, and truth. The scrolls remind us that this is our true nature, and that this is the only path that leads to lasting peace and fulfillment. So the question is not whether we are worthy of awakening. The question is, are we ready to embrace it? Are we ready to let go of the illusions that keep us bound and step into the truth of who we truly are? The scrolls have waited centuries to be revealed. The time is now. The awakening has begun, and it begins with each of us. The return of the light, reclaiming the truth of who we are. For centuries, the truth was hidden, not by the divine, but by those who feared its power. The scrolls were sealed, their message buried beneath the weight of religious institutions that sought to control and manipulate. But now, the time has come for this truth to be revealed. The scrolls are no longer hidden in the darkness of caves. They are here, in our hearts, in our consciousness, ready to awaken the light that has always been within us. The teacher of righteousness did not come to create a religion. He came to awaken us to the truth of our divine nature, to show us that the kingdom of heaven is not a place to be earned, but a state of being to be remembered. He came to remind us that we are not separate from the divine. We are the divine. And as we awaken to this truth, we begin to see the world in a new light. We begin to understand that everything we've been taught about salvation, about God, and about ourselves has been a distorted reflection of the truth. But the awakening is not a one-time event. It is a process, a journey that continues to unfold as we learn to live in alignment with the truth of who we are. The divine light that is within us does not come from external sources. It comes from within, from the very essence of our being. And as we awaken to this light, we begin to see it reflected in everything around us, in the people we meet, in the beauty of nature, and in the stillness of our own hearts. This is the return of the light. It is the return of the divine consciousness that has always been a part of us. It is the return of the truth that has been hidden for so long. And as we embrace this truth, we reclaim our power, our purpose, and our connection to the divine. The scrolls speak of a time when the sons of light will awaken. But they are not speaking of a future event. They are speaking of now. The sons of light are not a distant race or a group of chosen ones. They are you, and they are me. We are all capable of awakening to the light within, and when we do, we bring that light into the world. The more we awaken, the more we shine, and the more we awaken others. This is the divine revolution. It is not a revolution of power, but a revolution of light. It is a revolution of consciousness. And it begins with each of us. As we awaken to the truth of who we are, we become the bearers of the light. And together, we will bring the light into the world, awakening others to their own divine nature. And together, we will create a world where the truth of our divine connection is known and embraced by all. The scrolls were hidden not from us, but for us. They were meant to guide us back to the truth of who we are. And now, as we remember, we become the living scrolls, the carriers of the light, the bearers of the truth that will awaken the world. And the light that has always been within us will finally shine forth, transforming not just our own lives, but the entire world. As we come to the end of this journey through the wisdom hidden within the Dead Sea Scrolls, we are reminded of the profound truth that has always existed within us. The divine, the light, the kingdom of heaven, all of it is not somewhere far off in the sky, waiting for us to reach it. It is already here within us, waiting to be awakened. For centuries we've been taught to look outside of ourselves, to search for salvation through rituals, through institutions, through figures placed on pedestals. But the truth, as the scrolls so beautifully reveal, is that salvation, awakening, and divine connection are not something we seek in the distance. They are something we awaken within our own hearts. The message of the scrolls is not just about history or ancient wisdom, it's a message for today. It's a message for us in this very moment. You are not separate from the divine. You are the divine. And it is time to remember that truth. The Essenes, the teacher of righteousness, and the scrolls themselves all speak to this fundamental reality, that you are whole, that you are complete, and that the kingdom of heaven is not something we will enter after we die, but something we must awaken to right now in this lifetime. As we go about our daily lives, it can be so easy to forget this truth, to get caught up in the noise of the world, in the distractions, in the expectations placed upon us. But the scrolls tell us that all of that is an illusion. The only reality that matters is the divine light within us, the connection to the sacred that we all share. And once we remember this, once we awaken to this truth, we become something more. We become the living embodiment of the divine. This is not just a spiritual awakening. It is a revolution of consciousness, a revolution of the heart. As we remember who we are, we help others to remember too. The more we awaken, the more the world around us begins to change. We begin to see the world with new eyes, eyes that recognize the divine in everything and everyone. We no longer see separation. We see connection. We see unity. We see light. But this journey of awakening is not always easy. There are moments of doubt, moments when we question whether we are truly capable of such a deep transformation. And in those moments, it is essential to remember that we are never alone. The light is always with us, always guiding us, always calling us back to ourselves. And together, as we awaken, we become a force for good in the world. We become the bearers of the light, the ones who carry the truth and share it with others. If this video has brought even a small spark of light into your heart, if it has helped you to remember the divine truth that resides within you, I invite you to support this journey. Your support, in whatever way it manifests, is invaluable to me. It is not about financial contribution, but about the energy we share, the energy of awakening, of love, and of connection. Every like, every comment, every share, and every subscription helps to spread this message further, helping more people to awaken to the truth within themselves. If this video has resonated with your soul, if it has given you the clarity and peace that you've been searching for, please consider showing your support. Your energy fuels this mission. Together, we can share the light and bring this message of awakening to the world. Thank you, from the depths of my heart, for joining me on this journey. Your support, your love, and your energy are what make this possible. I am truly grateful for each of you, for your willingness to listen, to awaken, and to share this truth. You are not just a viewer, you are a part of this journey. You are a part of the awakening that is happening in the world. And as we continue to walk this path together, remember that you are the scroll. You are the living testament to the truth that has been hidden for so long. You are the divine light, and as you awaken, you help to awaken the world. Keep shining, keep remembering, and keep sharing the light. Thank you for being here, for being a part of this awakening. Together, we are creating a world where the divine is known and embraced by all. Let the light continue to shine. Let the truth continue to unfold. And may we all remember who we truly are, divine, whole, and complete.